Check 1, 2. Yeah. So I gotta say this because it's so important, and time is running out, you know, for everybody, you know what I mean? Time is running out. And so you gotta say it because the writing's on the wall, but so many people don't see it, but it's clear. Like to me, it's just crystal fucking clear. You know, one thing about like I got into like remote viewing, a lot of psychic shit, martial arts, knife throwing, knife fighting, shit like that. One thing it does, it makes your brain work differently. Like you see the world differently. And sometimes you see things people don't. And so I just kind of I see the angle sometimes. Sometimes I don't, sometimes I do. And it's kind of one of the angles that I see. You know what I'm saying? And what I see is like when you see them bolstering these groups, right? These factions, and that's what you gotta look at it like this shit is war, right? This shit is war, yo. When they take your kids and kidnap your kids, call you niggers, and the shit like what you see them do to Philando, Castille, and shit like that, you realize like the shit is like war. You know what I mean? And the many facets of it, like economically they starve you out, but they give billions of dollars to immigrants. Like these people like the people that killed Philando Castile. They get them hundreds of thousands and billions of dollars to build their lives while they choke black people out economically, except for a few celebrities and some managerial coons, right? And so you see what they're trying to do, right? Like, and then you see that basically the end game is like they don't need you anymore, right? They don't need any slave descendants of slavery. They need slaves. They don't need descendants of slavery. Right? Let me say that again. They need slaves. They do not need black descendants of slavery. They need slaves, right? And so, you're not slaves anymore. You're descendants of slaves, and you don't necessarily want to be a slave. So, right, and you want to fight back, whatever. So, against white supremacy, but the immigrants are white supremacists. You see, that's what you fail to realize. Like, there is no black-brown coalition. There is no immigrant coalition with black people. The immigrants are white supremacists. I don't care how dark their skin is. Most of these people, if you go in their house, they got pictures of white Jesus on their wall, right? You go in their churches, or whatever, right? Whether they Indians or Africans or Hispanics or Latinos, whatever you want to call them, right? All these groups, even Haitians, Africans, I've seen them with pictures of white Jesus, white man, white God on their wall. Anybody like that is a white supremacist suspect, right? And so when they come to this country, people like Ilhan Omar and these different people, I've heard of her. Go back, you can go on my page and watch an interview with her. But she said, I don't care what happens to black people in America. They not my people. I got nothing to do. White people can do whatever they want to them. Now, she said that on, I forgot, Jimmy Kimmel or one of them shows, and the white man didn't check her or anything. He just kept going like she didn't say it. He kept going, just kept talking to her, right? Why? Because he already know that. You see what I'm saying? So the reason why they bring them here and they bolstering them and they building them up economically is because they're going to use them against you just like Philando Castile. Your fate and your children's fate and your grandchildren's fate is going to be the fate of Philando Castile. You're going to be destroyed at the hand of some immigrants. If something doesn't happen to change the trajectory of things, right? Which I'm betting it is, right? I'm betting something's gonna happen. But if it doesn't, or it's gonna the situation with Castille is gonna be every black person's fate, right? They probably gonna, I know they probably gonna strike my video for this, but I'm gonna say it anyway, right? Because it's true, right? I mean, just like in Rwanda, you know what I mean? They even took two groups of the same people and played them against each other. So what do you think they're going to do with white supremacist groups like immigrant groups like the Hispanic, Latino? You know, these people are Catholics. You know, the Catholics, that's white Jesus. That's the religion of white supremacy. You know what I mean? They are agents. And these people, knowingly or unknowingly, you're an agent of the Antichrist if you're into that kind of thing. And that's a whole nother thing. I'm going to do a piece on that, though. I might do a little study on that while I just do the background on that. That shit is Antichrist, satanic, alien agenda, all that shit. But anyway, that's a whole nother video. But yeah, so you're gonna end up like Philando Castille, right? Your children gonna be destroyed. Like my children destroyed, they finished. You know what I'm saying? Like I have no, and I hate to say it, but it breaks my heart, but it's nothing I can do. Like whatever I could do, I was too late trying to do it. And they fell into the hands of the devil, in the hands of Satan. And when Satan get hold of your children, he's not gonna let them go. So be careful you sacrifice your child to the devil. You know what I mean? You better you die fighting to keep them away from certain situations than to allow them to fall into the hands of Satan. Right? To these wicked people. Because when they do, it's probably the end for them. Right? And so, but I digress. So the fate of most black people in America, if something doesn't change, you're gonna end up like Philando Castille. You're gonna be destroyed. See, these are their foot soldiers. Right? These immigrant groups are their foot soldiers. That's why they are bolstering them economically, to make sure they have stores in your neighborhoods, businesses, resources, billions of dollars, right? They're building up their army so that they don't have to do the dirty work. They can just say, well, you know, some ethnic, you watch that shit in other countries. You watch it in, Bosnia, or you watch it in the Ukraine, or you watch it in Libya, or you watch it in, pick the place, and you say, well, that could never happen here. It's happening right in front of your eyes, stupid. When you look at Philando Castille, what do you think that's about? You think it's just a random incident, don't you? A lot of people, it's just a random incident. Really? There's a lot of those random incidents for it to be a random incident. I'm just saying, nobody could be that stupid. Right? When you see these people arguing, like I showed the interview with Joe Biden, screaming on people, get these people their money. Get these people their goddamn money. Right? You say, well, why is he fighting? So why is this segregationist white man fighting so hard to get these foreigners all of this money? Why? Why is he, what the fuck is he getting out of it? He's not a humanitarian, right? He definitely is a segregationist and he doesn't like black people. Right? That's a fact. Him and Obama and the rest of them, they hate black people. Kamala Harris, these people hate black people. Don't get it fucked up. Right? Listen, why is this motherfucking white racist segregationist Joe Biden screaming on people on TV? Get these people their money. But if you say, what about the Negro that been here for 400 years? He said, get out of here, nigga. We ain't got time for that foolishness. You get out of here. And you say, well, what is that about? Right? It's because they building an army. That's what it's about. Right? They're building an army against you. I'm just gonna make it plain and just put it out there. I mean, that's just the truth. You might get me, strike my channel and just take it down again, but you know, oh well. But it's true. I mean, I'm just telling you the truth. Like they're building an army against you, and once they bolster them up, you know what I'm saying? You look at, like, for instance, these 100,000 Afghanis they bringing in. These people are coming out of a war zone. Enough said, right? I'm just saying. And they're giving them $6 billion. You know what I mean? They're giving them $400,000 a piece. Boom, boom, boom. These people, to build themselves up. Right? And basically, you're going to be surrounded because they right in your community. They're going to have stores in your communities, houses, different things. You see? All these different things, you know what I mean, built up around you. While you economically, you starved out except for a few of y'all here and there. And then generally you have no idea what's going on. Generally blacks have no idea what's going on. Anybody that voted for Barack Obama and Kamala Harris has no idea, or Joe Biden, and most blacks did. That means they have no idea what's going on. Like zero. Like, so this shit is gonna drop on them like a boulder when it happens. Because they believe the hype. Like P.E. said, don't believe the hype. They believe the hype. They believe in all of this shit. They don't see what's coming. They don't, not what's coming, they don't see what's happening. Right? And if you told them, they wouldn't care. They'd say, oh, well, that's just, one of those things. Right? And it's not, though. It's not. I mean, you see, like the Ahmaud Arbery, you see the Philando Castille, and it's just so many cases. Then now you're starting to see more and more of these immigrant shootings and killings of black people, right? And you see them building these groups up, and you notice when you come in contact with these, like me myself, one thing I notice when I come in contact, that's why I don't give a fuck about them, right? I don't give no fucks about them. They'd be like, you support whatever. If they had that come through me, they wouldn't get shit. I wouldn't be like, nope, I don't support any of that. Because I know better. I know what they're up to. Right? They're giving them all this support. Why? Because they're gonna be used as a force against you. Like in the case of a Philando Castille. All black people are gonna end up, if something doesn't change, like Philando Castille. There is no rainbow coalition. Don't let Jesse Jackson or any of these people fool you. There is no coalition. It's just the opposite of that. Right? They're building up these people so that they can turn them loose on you. And they are going to turn them loose on you. Look at Philando Castille. That's a case of them turning them motherfuckers loose on you. And that's one of many. I may do a compilation of like when immigrants attack blacks. Right? I can do a compilation video of that if I wanted to. But they're passing Asian hate crime bills. Right? Why do you think they're doing that? They're bolstering these groups. These groups all hate black people. The Asians, the Hispanics, particularly these Afghanis, these, the Arabs, the Indians, Kamala Harris group, they hate black people. Go back, you can go look at the videos on my channel and just type in Indians or Gandhi and see what comes up. If you don't believe me, it's not like I'm lying. The proof is right in front of your face. I'm not saying anything that's not, I could sit here and go through video after video after video. I'm not sure that would make a difference. Because the writing's on the wall. And the time is short. Like, you see what they're doing. It's not like I had to say, well, this is coming. I'm some false prophet, pontificating about something that's coming. Philando Castille happened a few years ago. Ahmaud Arbery happened last year. Many cases. They firebombed black people in California. This happened a few years ago. Like 6, 7 years. This is nothing new. Except if you've been living under a rock. You know what I'm saying? And so it's evident where they're going with this. These people, when the time comes, like it's not gonna be just picking you off or whatever. It's gonna be like ethnic cleansing. They're gonna ethnically cleanse you Negroes. You know what I'm saying? If they decide to. And they want to make sure that they got, because they're not going to make a deal with you. Like, it's not going to be no reparations. You can see that. So that's not, so you look at it this way. If you say reparations is off the table, the Negro got to become a bootleg. I watched the video. Joe Biden already told you. Go back and look at what Biden said. I mean, it's not what I said, because I'm just a stupid Negro. Go look at what Joe Biden said in the video I just posted. Matter of fact, that's a repost of something I posted a long time ago, of a meeting with Joe Biden and a bunch of so-called black activists like Al Sharpton, who's selling you down the road. When the shit goes down, they're going to know about it. They're going to be gone long before anything happens. They're going to be on vacation in Europe. They're going to be on vacation in Canada. They're going to be on vacation in the wherever, right? Fill in the blanks. People like Sharpton, Obama, different people. They're going to be, they're going to be out of the country. Right? But you may be facing an ethnic cleansing in the places where you live at the hands of these Afghanis and Pakistanis and Arabs, these, dark-skinned people, these Indians, these Asians, some of these African groups like Ilhan Omar, right? Gonna fucking ethnically cleanse you niggas and be like, so? And then this is the story they'll say, like if it hits the newspaper, they'll say, well, it got out of control. They say, why you let them ethnically cleanse all the Negroes? Right? And they say, well, it got out of control, but we're trying to get it back in control. These people, started fighting. We didn't have anything to do with it. But we're getting it under control. Right? Just like if you notice in South Africa, perfect example, the Indians in South Africa work with white people and put themselves on top of the blacks there. It's the same scenario, right? It's the same blueprint. They're going to use them as a buffer against you. They're going to use them as a force against people because they're like, fuck you, we hate niggas, right? We're not paying any reparations. We're not doing any black agenda. We'd rather give billions to these immigrants. It's cheaper to give money to them, right? And have them, we're going to sick them on you, right? I mean, so that's kind of what you're looking at. Not kind of, but that's what you're looking at, right? Like, they're bringing in these groups of people and setting them up so that they can just say, that they can basically, you're looking at like almost an ethnic cleansing of the blacks, the descendants of slavery, right? At a certain level, on different levels, whether it's economic, and then at a certain, like, politically, and then physically, if need be, right? I'm not sure they can starve you out, I mean, I guess if the side effects from COVID don't get you, then, it might be some Afghan or some Hispanic, like Philando Castille, right? Like Yanez, right? That finished off Castille and then walked, said he feared for his life and then he walked, right? So that's what you're looking at. I'm going to wrap this up, but I just wanted to say that. You're looking at basically, a ethnic cleansing at a certain level that's going to probably take place at the hands of these immigrants. You know what I mean? If something doesn't change, right? And that's what the Obama, Harris, all of the fake shit, the fake political class, all of that was just to cover up the bigger plan, for the Negro. It was to kind of stall you out, to fake you out, to distract you. And then boom, right? We dropped the hammer on them. When they start to get they start to get riled up because they don't have any political traction. All their political leaders sold out. They don't have, and they realize, and they try to get some traction, but we just totally dismantle that. They can't get no economic traction, no black agenda, nothing, no resources, nothing. We give $15 billion a year to Israel. We give billions to immigrants, right? And eventually they're going to get riled up. And then boom, that's when they just say, well, we go with plan B. Or plan I, which is plan immigrant, right? And we let them deal with them, right? And then we just step back and say, well, they foaming it. And then, they step back and say, well, we tried to stop it, but the Negroes, instigated or whatever. They wouldn't stop crying about the shit that, and they didn't like, the mistreatment or whatever. And they saying they being mistreated, but they weren't really, they'll have some propaganda, They'll just say, the Negroes are the real racists in America. Something like that, right? Negroes are racist. Like they said, the Negroes are the real racist against Asians or whatever, right? And they'll say it's the Negroes' fault. They're the real racists in America. And, they somehow attack these people and then, something happened and then, I'm just saying, like hypothetically, right? You can see how it's going to play out. And we try to stop it, but, the groups started fighting and the Negroes, they just, boom, they ended up like Philando, Castille. There was nothing we could do. It's too late. We tried to stop it. I mean, and that's just how it's going to play out. Right? That's how it's playing out, and that's how it's going to continue. It's just going to accelerate, probably, at a certain level. At a certain point, it's going to accelerate, right? So it's going to be slow. You don't get the Philando Castilles. You see the acceleration of it, right? The mistreatment, right, at the hands of these people, right? They're foot soldiers, and that's what these immigrants are. They're just their foot soldiers. And as they build them up, then they're just going to cut them loose on you. Just like Joe Biden told you. Go back and look at the video. Joe Biden said it himself. I'm just kind of paraphrasing what Joe Biden said. If you're stupid and you can't read between the lines of what he's saying, right? And so, I just say, it's just, I don't know. I guess if something doesn't happen, that's, overall to change the course of things, and the Negro don't, he don't stand up, then I guess he just go extinct like the dodo bird or the dinosaur, right? Like survival of the fittest, only the strong survive, right? So if you get washed out, then it's a wash. You just get washed out. You know what I mean? You couldn't make it. You was too weak. And that's just, that's just how it went. Right? There's nobody's fault but your own. You're nobody really to blame. Right? But yourself. In the end, right? Because it's not like a lot of times it wasn't like you wasn't told. It wasn't like you didn't know Obama was selling you out. It wasn't like you didn't know Harris was selling you out at a certain point. It wasn't like you didn't see the stories like Philando Castille. Like you saw all of this shit happening. And you probably even heard somebody talking about it. I'm going to tell the story and then I'm going to go, right? You probably heard somebody, like, it was a story, you said, I wanted to hear from God, right? It was something. Well, you heard from God, right? There's a story about a man, like, and he wanted to become enlightened, so he went to a temple, right? This was in India. It's an old story. And so he went to a temple to talk to the head priest, the old master. And he made him sit outside for a very long time in the lobby. And eventually, after like a day or two, he let him in. He made him sit there to see how bad he really wanted it. You know, he wanted to become a student in the temple. And so eventually he let him in and he became a student in the temple. And so one day, after leaving the temple, he was walking down the road and there was a man riding an elephant. And the elephant got out of control, right? And started stampeding or whatever. And, you know, the man on the elephant was screaming, "Get out of the way, I can't control this elephant, get out of the way." And so the man got ran over and got kicked by the elephant and fucked up. And so after he got a little better, he went back to the temple. And he told the old master the story of what happened. And he said, "But you know, through all this, I couldn't hear the voice of God, right? Telling to help me. I couldn't get help from God. I couldn't hear the voice of God." And he said, "You did hear the voice of God. It was the man on the elephant screaming, 'Get out of the way, you fool.' That was the voice of God. The man on the elephant saying, 'Get out of the way. I can't control this elephant. This elephant is out of control. Watch out.' That was the voice of God coming through this into the universe to help me, but you didn't listen. You ain't pay attention." That's the Negro, right? The signs all over the place, right? Everything is right there for you to see, right? The voice of God is talking to you, constantly telling you, "Get out of the way, get out of the way. You're going to be run over by this elephant." But you don't hear it. You don't see it. You're not listening. So you get trampled by the elephant. End up in the hospital or dead. Right? And on that, I'm gonna wrap that. That's all I got.